Jack Center, American 350, check-in at 370.
American 350, Jacksonville Center, ident. November 6 Alpha radar contact 23 miles north of the Florence VOR at flight level 360. Good evening.
Flight level 360, honey.
American, good evening. American flight level 426,000, going over 34,000.
Yeah, there was two at once there. Break, American 350, radar contact about 20 miles north of Pelican.
Jacksonville, hello, Delta 2660, flight level 360.
Delta 2660, Jacksonville Center, good evening, ident.
Jax, good evening. American 3422, flight level 350.
American 3422, Jacksonville Center, good evening, ident.
Jacksonville Center, Spirit 256 is at flight level 390.
Spirit Wing 356, Jacksonville Center, ident. Delta 2660, radar contact north of Greenwich. American 3422, radar contact north of Ozark. Spirit Wings 356, radar contact over the Mike Alpha India VOR.
And Jack Center, good evening, November 414 Whiskey Delta, checking on level 430.
November 414 Whiskey Delta, Jacksonville Center, good evening, ident.
Ident.
.414 Whiskey Delta, radar contact over the Cross City VOR.
Jack Center, good evening. JetBlue 677, flight level 340.
JetBlue 677, Jacksonville Center, good evening, ident.
Ident, JetBlue 677.
JetBlue 677, radar contact 5 miles north of J. Ross at flight level 340. I'll have a descent instruction for you in just a second here.
No problem.
JetBlue 677, descend via the Looney 1 arrival, runway 8 transition, Jacksonville, altimeter is 3009.
I will send you the Lily 1 for the runway 8 transition, 309 on the meter. JetBlue 677.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a quick night of the stream.
Jacksonville Center, good evening. Allegiant 966, flight level 360.
Allegiant 966, Jacksonville Center, good evening, ident. If you haven't followed me, follow me. Come a part of the stream. Come a part of this community that we're trying to build here. Allegiant 966, radar contact over the Gainesville VOR. Allegiant 342, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Squawk, ident for me.
Jacksonville Center, JetBlue 2133 on the ground Orlando, Airport to San Juan.
JetBlue 2133, Jacksonville Center, you're cleared to the San Juan Airport via Danny 3 departure, Jipod transition that is filed. Climb via Sid departure with me, Squawk 3225.
JetBlue 2133, clear to San Juan on the Danny 3, J-Pod, climb via Sid, departure is with you, Squawk 3225.
Your readback is correct. Are you planning for a 3-6 right?
Actually 35 left, and we're ready to taxi.
Roger. Runway 35 left taxi via Echo 1, Foxtrot, Golf Hotel 10.
Echo 1 Foxtrot, Golf Hotel, and JetBlue 2133.
Allegiant 342, radar contact about 150 miles south of the Destin Airport at 15,000. What's up, Dave? Got a couple planes here, no flight plan. I think we might talk about that tonight, is the requirements of filing a flight plan. And since you can't do the easy method anymore of filing in the system. I did see the pic. Someone's trying to talk to me. They made it. But I do need to descend him because he's going to Punta Gorda. So this was definitely an impromptu. I didn't plan on controlling tonight, but I said, you know what? I'm going to control tonight. And here I am. For those who weren't around last night, we had the massive staff up of ZJX controllers, which was a lot of fun. We had all the centers online and then one approach. The poor approach guy got hurt pretty badly, but that's okay.
Jacksonville Center, Frontier Flight 1041, coming through flight level 208 for 320, max forward speed. We are aware of the traffic behind us.
Frontier 1041, Jacksonville Center, good evening. A flight plan would be very helpful, please.
Okay, we'll send that for 1041. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Spirit Wings 3065, flight level 240 up to flight level 320. We got the Frontier in front of us in sight. We're doing 220 on the speed.
Spirit Wings 3065, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Climb, maintain flight level 320, squawk 2733 and ident.
2733 ident.
Jax, evening Delta 1513, about 15 northeast Orlando, McCoy 8500, descending via the Alina, set up for 35 right with the weather.
Delta 1513, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Radar contact as reported, descend via. Actually, you can descend maintain 3000, and you said you wanted to go with the visual or the ILS?
Descend and maintain 3000, airports in sight, whatever works for you, Delta 1513.
Delta 1513, clear visual approach, runway 36 left. I can give you 35 left to shortcut the arrival in for you.
Okay, just verify, now cleared for 36 left.
35 left.
Okay, Delta 1513 now cleared the visual approach, 35 left, got it.
So that was a great situation. He checked in, he said, hey, I have the airport in sight, cool. Cleared visual approach. When he gets closer to the final, I'm going to clear him to land. So that was a good one. Spirit Wings 3065 radar contact just to about 20 miles to the north of, or to the east, west of the Ormond Beach VOR.
I check 3065.
Frontier 1041, Jacksonville Center, squawk 0710.
0710, Frontier Flight 1031.
In Frontier 1041, when you get a chance, proceed direct Larry.
Direct Larry, Frontier Flight 1041.
Waiting to see that thing change to his call sign so I can actually tell. There he is. Frontier 1041, radar contact about 15 miles north of the Ormond Beach VOR.
Listen check, Frontier Flight 1041.
I am so close to affiliate. I need well, I need you all to stay online for longer. But besides that, I need one more follower. So if you haven't followed me, please follow me. Then we can get to affiliate. Then we can go for the partner line. November 6 Alpha radar contact lost. But to me, it's more than just getting the affiliate. I want to be able to help you guys the best I can.
Jacksonville Center, Canada 1236, joining you at flight level 360, about 27 miles east of the SSI Vortex.
Where is he at? SSI. Air Canada 1236 radar contact as Jacksonville Center radar contact as reported. Good evening. My wife grab my wife's phone. No, whoever, if you haven't followed me, if this is new to your stream, if you've never been on my stream, I am very much wanting to teach people. Tell your friends. I've been around here for a while, a long, long while. So feel free to talk, to spread the word. I'm here to help people, and that's my goal. Is to, I didn't think of this stream as something of getting as crazy as it is, this is awesome. But, to be able to share knowledge and to give people help that need the help. Speaking of help, I got to help the Punta Gorda guy. I got to see what that crossing restriction is. He's at Mayo 16. So let's see. PGD, got nothing. I'm guessing that's probably lower. But I'm going to give that to Miami and make it Miami's problem. Allegiant 966, contact Miami Center 135.17. See ya.
3517, Allegiant 966, see ya.
And tonight we're running the whole
Jacksonville Center, Southwest 575 with you.
Southwest 575, Jacksonville Center. Good evening, ident. We are running the whole gambit of things. We got the SRQ.
Jacksonville Center, good afternoon, good evening. Delta 6540 with you, 120,000.
Delta 6540, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Southwest 575, radar contact just south of Cross City VOR. Descend and maintain 13,000. Sarasota altimeter is 3008.
Descend maintain 13,000, 3008.
But I also want people to see what we see as controllers.
Jacksonville Center, am I able to climb from my cruise altitude 350,000? Delta 6.
Delta 6540, climb, maintain, flight with 350.
350, Delta 6540.
Frontier 1041, I'm going to hold your climb at 310 due to an LOA.
Okay, 310, Frontier Flight 1041, thank you.
And Delta 2660, descend and maintain 350.
Down 350, 3660.
JetBlue 2133, you ready to go?
A few more minutes, will advise.
Roger, I just got one inbound here, so I'll just have them land and then take you off.
Alright, from this flight.
Delta 1513, the wind is 060 at 7, runway 35 left, clear to land.
Clear to land, 35 left, Delta 1513.
American 5106, did you transfer me over to Unicom?
Aircraft collectors, the call sign? Yes, American 5106, you're over to Unicom. That is correct. Thank you for following
Okay,
me.
thank you. Over to
Unicom.
Unicom.
I'm Josh. Welcome.
American 5106.
And as I said, I'm always open for questions. If you got a question, feel free to ask me. Put it in the chat. I am looking at the chat. You should have this follow. That's awesome. But put a question in the chat. If there's something, actually someone had brought up something that was interesting to me is, as a pilot, if you had an issue with the controller, how do you handle it? So we're going to talk about that tonight. It was something I thought about. I was like, yeah, many people don't know about the infamous command of .wallop. Southwest 575, contact Miami Center 135.17. See ya.
135.17, see ya.
JetBlue 677, expect I believe visual approach runway 8. Yep, visual approach runway 8.
I will expect the visual for runway 8, JetBlue 677.
Just getting everyone tagged up here with things that are important. I always try to plan ahead. If you have me on a center, I always try to get you the best info ahead of time, so you don't have to worry about it. So let's talk about what you can do with problem controllers. And they do happen. First thing to do is remember they're human. I know that seems like something that would be obvious, But remember, they do make mistakes. And they're dealing with a massive amount of traffic, much more than the FAA ever deals with. To think about an event into Orlando, we see an average of 300 to 400 aircraft in 4 hours. And we're not doing it with what the FAA has for teams, and software stuff happens. Delta 1513, welcome to Orlando International. Left turn off the runway, straight ahead to airside 4. Thanks for flying in.
Left one able and into parking, Delta 1513. Good night.
JetBlue 2133, runway 35 left, line up and wait.
Line up 35 left, 2133.
So, what to do when you have that? First, reach out to them and say, hey, is it something I did wrong? Hey, why are you getting so aggressive? Just heads up, you're just a little aggressive on frequency. It's getting, we don't want to have issues. And sometimes that cools people down. Sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I'm just having a bad day. I dealt with, and sometimes they need that support. Someone saying, hey, it's okay. You can have a bad day. JetBlue 2133, RNAV to go home. The wind 060 at 7. Runway 35 left, clear for takeoff.
RNAV, go home. Clear for takeoff. Runway 35 left, JetBlue 2133.
But what if it goes beyond that? What if you get that controller that's just being mean? And they're just not stopping. They're just not caring. That's when you use the infamous command .wallop. What .wallop is it is a contacting of supervisors.
Jacksonville Center, Spirit Wing 256. We step away for 10. I got to recharge my headset.
Yeah, make it a quick 10. You get close to the border.
I'll make it a quick 10. See you.
So the easiest thing to do, you do .wallop, and you explain the situation. Keep it brief. The supervisor is going to reach out to you and say, hey, this person was, this controller was just, I think he's having a rough day. He might need a cool down. Explain the situation. Not calling a supervisor is not always a bad thing. We do this occasionally as controllers because I can't sit there all the time and instruct you how to fly your aircraft. So we do it as controllers to kind of help people out.
Jacksonville Center, Walker 1588 Heavy with you, climbing to flight level 120.
Walker 1588 Heavy, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Climb, maintain flight level 300.
Up to 300, Walker 1588 Heavy.
So it doesn't hurt to call the supervisor. JetBlue 2133, radar contact altitude.
1,400, 2133.
JetBlue 2133, climb, maintain 14,000.
14,000, 2133.
Allegiant 342, contact Houston Center 134.42. He may not hear me. He's at 15,000 over the Gulf of Mexico, and that transceiver down there is pretty weak. Let's see here. Houston on 134.425. There we go. So it's not a bad thing to say to a supervisor, hey, this is going on, and have the supervisor handle it. Have the supervisor take care of it. And the supervisor may do nothing. The supervisor may just say, hey, he's having a bad day. It's okay. Or the supervisor can take action. But the big thing I say to everyone is make sure you're doing the right thing. Okay? Sometimes the reason why things happen is because something you might have done by accident. Just make sure that you got your ducks in a line before trying to go after the controller. Yes, the supervisors are going to usually go after and say that you were in the wrong. That is a true statement. They're defending their controllers, which does happen. I don't agree with it, but it does happen. But remember, if you give them a good story, and if you say, hey, this is what's going on, and tell them truth, yeah, they may not do nothing to the controller. The other, hey, Frontier 1041, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, I'll do all the cool things. The other thing to do, if it's something that really bothered you, every RTAC has a feedback form. It is on their website. If you Googly search, every one of them, hey, Spirit Wings 365, What's up? Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, do all the cool things. Every RTAC has a feedback forward. And if you go to that feedback forward, I'm going to go take the Jacksonville one right now. I'm going to pull that one out if our website's working. We forgot to renew our website by accident. Oops. So in our RTAC, under other resources, we have feedback. And you can see provide feedback. It has, you choose the controller, choose who it is, call sign, ours auto-populates, and just say what happened. And it could be something as, hey, the guy's having a bad day. So, and explain to him what happened. And it could be something just stupid. It could be something you just like, he just was really not getting it. He was pissed off at the world. He was just annoyed. November 414 Whiskey Delta, leaving my airspace to the north. Atlanta's offline radar services. Terminator, forget the change approved. I could have a safe flight.
Thanks for hopping on board, still. See you next time.
But the big thing I say is try to work it out with the controller first. And it might be something stupid. JetBlue 2133 contacted Miami Center 135.17.
3517 for JetBlue 2133. Have a good night.
Reach out to them and say, hey, are you having a bad day? Just a heads up. I noticed you were kind of rude to this person. You may not also know the situation, and I always say this to people, don't report of what you see, report what happened to you. When I was ATM, I had people leave feedback that was about somebody else that they saw. And they don't get the whole story, and all of a sudden now, they're leaving this negative feedback for this controller that I have to reject, which may still be a good feedback, but I have to reject it because it wasn't from the person that it happened to. So always check out to see if you ever have an issue with a controller, go to their RTAC's website. If you don't know what RTAC they're in, find out the airport that you were closest to. If they are center control, you'll know it's Jacksonville Center or Miami Center, so it's the Miami RTAC or the Jacksonville RTAC. And just, it doesn't hurt to leave a feedback. But also leave feedback for when you have a good experience. That's something that does not happen enough on our network. People don't leave feedback for good experiences. If you had a great experience, tell the RTAC, tell them, hey, Mike Burke was online, did an awesome job. That's praise. You don't have to say, oh, he did this great thing because he told me what to do. You can just say, hey, Mike was online, he did an awesome job. He got me from point A to point B. Perfect. There is nothing wrong with that. We look for that praise. That tells us that we're doing a good job because we don't really hear, yes, you say, have a good day or thanks for being on. But having that praise, when we get that, and a lot of RTACs will send it to their members. We put it, I know in ours, in the Jacksonville RTAC, it's in our Discord. We send it to them in public acknowledgement of doing an awesome job. That is something that's really, really important to do. American 350, leaving my airspace to the north. Washington's offline. Radar services are terminated. Frequency change approved. Mike, I have a safe flight.
Okay, have a great night. Thanks.
So I hope that helps you understand dot wallop and dealing with conflict controllers. And dealing with conflict pilots. A lot of us are on 122.8, and you hear the chat conversations occasionally. There's nothing wrong with if you hear someone just having a classic grand old conversation on Unicom, nothing wrong with having a supervisor take care of it. The biggest thing, don't confront them. Don't confront the controller. Don't confront the pilot. You can leave a message for that controller saying, hey, heads up, you're just being a little harsh.
I know Jacksonville Center, bearing 56 back from our quick break.
Welcome back. But, keep your confrontations to these. Sometimes it's better to let the supervisor handle it. Spirit Wings 356, contact Miami Center 135.17. See ya.
Jacksonville Center, Spirit Wings 256, checking back in.
And a Delta 2660, leaving my airspace to the north. Washington's offline radar services terminated. Frequency change approved. Or excuse me, Atlanta's offline radar services terminated. Frequency change approved. Mike, I have a safe flight.
182.8, Google 2660. Thanks for the have a good night.
JetBlue 677, descend and maintain 3,000.
3000, JetBlue 677.
Jacksonville Center, Spearwings 256.
Go ahead. I think his microphone might be acting up. That happens. If you have to unplug it, sometimes it does act up like that. American 344, contact Miami Center 135.17. See ya. American 3422, contact Miami Center 135.17. See ya. Air Canada 1236, contact Miami Center 135.17. See ya. Air Canada, that was muted, but I know what you were saying.
Sorry, I didn't realize I had the boom flipped up. Have a good night.
No problem.
And American 3422, we probably were stepped on over to Miami 135175. See you.
Jacksonville Center, Island Pacific 4702. Information uniforms on board 310.
Island Pacific 4702, Jacksonville Center. Good evening. Expect the visual. Approach runway 8, Jacksonville. Altimeter is 3009.
3009, expecting visual runway 8, 4702.
Once I get rid of some more of these aircraft, which will happen pretty quickly here tonight, we'll talk a little bit more about the flight plan situation. And I call it the situation because a lot of people go, I don't know what to do. Frontier 1041, leaving my airspace to the north. Atlanta's offline. Radar services are terminated. Frequency change approved. I'm going to have a safe flight.
Okay, we'll see you later. Frontier Flight 1031. See!
The ideal thing is to use SimBrief. If I look at it this way, I just renewed my SimBrief for the year. Okay, it's 80-something bucks for the year. Let's think about 80 bucks comparison to a payware aircraft. We'll talk about the PMDG. $70 for a PMDG aircraft. I think that's what it was for a 737-800. So if you're willing to spend $70 on the aircraft, can you be willing to spend that money for that SimBrief with the Navigraph charts? So you get the ideal. You get the charts that everyone complains that you have to have, and you get the flight planning and all the routes. Makes life easy. But there's other things that we can use to find routes. And that's the biggest thing I've noticed lately is we're getting some very funky routes. And one of those things I use is flightaware.com. If you haven't been to this website, it is a great website because it takes the real world. We're going to say we're going to go Orlando to Atlanta, which is the one that everyone seems to take quite often lately. And we're going to scroll down to one that arrived just, let's see, it arrived, well, it's going to arrive very soon here, or it has arrived. It says 2250 arrive. It's only, but if you go to Frontier 3507, you see it departed gate 23, arrived at gate E4. There's the route. So you get the route right there. The final cruise altitude, which is interesting because there's an LOA 350 in the real world. But it gives you that route. So you always have that route available to you. JetBlue 677, turn left heading 180, descend and maintain 2000.
Heck, we get that again, JetBlue 677, sorry.
No problem, 180, 2000.
Left 180 down to 2000, JetBlue 677.
Spirit Wings 3065, leaving my airspace to the north. Atlanta's offline. Radar services terminated. Frequency change approved. Mike, have a safe flight. Spirit Wings 3065, leaving my airspace to the north. Atlanta offline. Radar services are terminated. Frequency change approved. Mike, have a safe flight.
3065, have a good night.
JetBlue 677, field is at your about 9 o'clock in about 7 miles reported in sight.
We got the field, JetBlue 677.
JetBlue 67, clear visual, approach runway 8, contact the tower, 18.3. See ya.
Clifton visual, approach contact tower 18.3. Have a great night, JetBlue 677.
So, as we said, SimBrief is your best friend. SimBrief is a great thing. Let's talk about SimBrief. They don't pay me to say this. This is all of my own personal view.
And Jacksonville Center, good evening, WestJet 1349, airside for gate 94 in Orlando, looking for IVAR clearance to Winnipeg.
WestJet 1349, Jacksonville Center, good evening. You're cleared to the Winnipeg Airport via Jimmy 3 departure, Payne transition, then is filed. Climb via SID, departure with me, squawk 2713.
All right, clear to Winnipeg, Jamie 3 departure, Payne transition, then is filed. Departure will be with you. We'll squawk 2713 for WestJet 1349.
WestJet 1349, read back correct. Push stars at discretion. Contact me for taxi. Expect 36 left for departure. Or excuse me, 36 right for departure, excuse me.
All right, we'll give you a call for taxi. We'll expect 36 right for departure. WestJet 1349, thanks.
India Papa November 4702 to send maintain 11,000.
11,000, Pacific 4702.
So, going back to the SimBrief, most people fly airliners. Most people fly airliners. So, the great thing about it is we can fill in, I'm going to choose my infamous car sign, American 7, KMCO, KATL, not like Americans going to Atlanta from Orlando. And we're just going to say an A321 because I like flying Airbus. And I've set up some of these already. It actually fills in that spot that we need, the Jimmy 3 Payne Sharks, Larry Lars Jedi. So all I changed was I changed this to kilograms because I'm in an Airbus, and I chose who I was going to do. WestJet 1349, you're not an idiot. Don't worry. It's perfectly fine. So after we have that
out of Orlando, I know it was an issue last time I did it, so my apologies.
No worry. So we have everything in there. All we do is we press generate flight. And look, it does everything. We can pre-file on the network. So when you pull up that crazy pre-filing chart here, which is this psychopathic thing, it fills it all the way in. But let's talk about what we need to have in here. If you didn't have that, we need a call sign, American 7. That's pretty simple. IFR or VFR. Again, if you file a VFR, as I said, you'll never get a flight plan will never be submitted to the controller in the United States. Aircraft type is the ICO A321. Weight category. If you are flying an A321, it's not a heavy. I saw yesterday an A320 heavy. No. Medium. Okay. Equipment suffix. Now, it does fill in this big one. Most aircraft in VATSIM are slant Lima, so L could go right there. Departure Orlando. Off-block time means what time you're going to be leaving Zulu. Altitude, the crude altitude. Airspeed, what you think what the indicated airspeed on your briefing is going to be. Arrival and alternate is not required. How much time it's going to take for you to get there, and how much fuel you have on board. So this is all about the planning of things. You got to put that route in there. All this stuff down here is not needed except for this one right here. Please put in what type your voice. Some RTACs require like stuff put into the remarks section, i.e. joinaba.org, and you sometimes need to be in there. But you don't need any of the other details. But please put the voice rules in so we know what you're going to be. And then you can file a flight plan. Okay? The other great thing about having SimBrief is you can view the PDF, and this is where I tell you to print something. I print the first 5 pages. Roger. I always print the first 5 pages. I really don't need to, but I always do. Roger. So I print them all one, so I have the fuel. I have the route. I have my alternate. I like putting the packs and having proper weight in there. and I have all those times I need. So that's the great thing about SimBrief. Now, some people, we call them psychedelic, fly anything but a jetliner. They might fly, let's go with a Cessna 310. I think that can get to Atlanta. Still files the same route, but it's not going to go up to 30-something thousand feet. Let's refile here. Generate the flight plan. You can see 2 hours, 17 minutes, it's going to take going up to 5,000 feet. So it does help with that planning. So I hope that helps you out. I hope that you understand the importance of finding good routes. The better the routes, the better. And like I said, you have a lot of resources out there. And if you don't want to get Navigraph, that's fine. The charts are online. Feel free to get charts. It doesn't hurt. They're free. Airnav.com. FlightAware's got the routes. So you pretty much have everything you kind of need. Yes, Navigraph makes it very easy, but you have everything you kind of need to be able to choose a proper route. And we see it quite often. People don't choose often routes. Smart routes. They choose, I've seen people choose routes that have every single waypoint in them, which makes it quite fun. I guess they didn't know about Jet Airways. I've seen people that don't put a route in, they just put direct. Well, you ain't getting direct from Orlando to San Francisco. Happens very often. Yes, please. So feel free, get those charts, get the routes correctly. It will make your lives a lot easier. Trust me. So we talked about feedback in those routes today. That's a good set of stuff. And we do have one in the pattern in Jacksonville. Jacksonville Ground just informed me that he's going to go offline, which is perfect. Or Jacksonville Tower's going offline, which is fine. Then we can talk about VFR pattern. That's something that's quite interesting because a lot of people, even myself, overcomplicated VFR for very, very, very many, way too many years. I always try to figure out what's the pattern? What is this pattern? Make left close traffic. What is this? To simplify it, left close traffic means you make left-hand turns. Right close traffic means you make right-hand turns. Done. But what are the requirements for VFR? We do a lot of airliner stuff, and a majority of pilots on VATSIM do airliners, but Dave was talking about the Piper.
And Jacksonville Center, good evening. Spirit Wings 3158 with the flight level 370.
Spirit Wings 3158, Jacksonville Center, good evening. So, thanks, Jake, for following. So, we'll talk about VFR here. So, there are, as many know, there are classes of airspace. Class Alpha, 18,000 to flight level 600. But then we have classes like you hear it occasionally, Class Bravo, Class Charlie, Class Delta, Class Echo, and Class Golf. So, welcome, American 5106. So, let's talk quickly about the different airfields. Class Bravo. In the Jacksonville airspace, there's only one Class Bravo field. You can all kind of guess what it is. Think bigger letter, bigger importance. Class Bravo, Orlando International. It's the busiest of fields. Earl Gaming, welcome aboard. So we have Class Bravo fields. You have Class Charlie fields. A majority of those bigger airports in this airspace are Class Charlie. Myrtle Beach, Jacksonville, Savannah, Daytona, Sanford, underneath the Bravo. Interesting. Tallahassee, Pensacola, all Class Charlie airspaces. Then you have the little smaller airports, still towered. Sometimes the tower closes. Class Delta airspaces, Hilton Head, stuff like that. Walker 1588, welcome aboard. So Each of these airports have different requirements for VFR planes to operate in them. In a Class Bravo, we'll start with Class Delta field. The entry requirement is two-way communication. And two-way communication can be as easy as you saying your call sign to the person,
Jackson,
they
American
responding
22,
back to you with your call sign.
79, flight level 350.
American 2279, Jacksonville Center, good evening. So say we're landing in Hilton Head, you could say American 7, Hilton Head Tower, American 7. And they can respond with American 7, Hilton Head Tower. Now I can enter the Class Delta airspace. It's that easy. It's that crazily easy. I don't need to change my squawk code. Don't need to do, they'll probably say, different instructions, make straight in or whatever it might be. But it's that easy. Class Charlie, we need to see you squawk a code. Okay, so they're going to give you a code before entering that Class Charlie airspace. So you're going to say American, Jacksonville Tower, American 7. Go American 7, good evening, squawk whatever. And then you can go in, once they see that identified, then you can go in. Now, for that Bravo, we need an explicit clearance. You are cleared into the Orlando Class Bravo. Maintain VFR below, blah, blah, blah. So that's the three differences. Delta, two-way communication. Charlie, got to have a squawk code. Bravo, got to have that clearance into. Delta 6540, leaving my airspace to the north. Atlanta's offline. Radar services terminated. Frequency change approved. Could I have a safe flight?
Delta 6540, frequency change approved. 122.8 to the dark side. Have a good night. Thank you for your service.
So that explains that stuff. We talked quickly about the pattern. I'll pull up the chart of the VFR pattern. VFR pattern. Let's see if I can find a good chart. Yeah, there's a good one. That's the one I always use here. If I can get it to show. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So this is the VFR pattern. This is the left closed traffic. Upwind on the way out, crosswind on the way out to the left, downwind, base, and final. So when we say enter left closed traffic, boom. Straight out departure, boom. That means you're going straight out. If you're flying VFR and you're leaving my field, straight out departure approved. Left crosswind departure approved. Right crosswind departure approved. Left downwind departure approved. Right downwind departure approved. So that's what those mean. So when a controller says, runway 8 clear for takeoff, straight out departure approved, it means you just fly straight. Same with the entry. You report the field, enter the left downwind for runway 8. Left downwind for runway 8. Enter the right downwind for runway 8. Right downwind for runway 8. Enter straight in for runway 8. Enter the left base for runway 8. So knowing the pattern is half the battle. It's a good thing to do. Know that pattern. Know how it works. Before you try flying, a lot of people go and say, I want to fly VFR. Okay, cool. Know about it before you do it. It will make your life a lot easier. Trust me. And you'll make a controller not go nuts. Now, then there's little... Ready for brief, America. Go ahead. Okay, my control Bravo Echo. Awesome. So we're taking over the entire airspace. Yippee me.
Jacksonville Center, good evening. Delta 2437 is with you, 46 miles west of Wilmington, VOR at 24, climbing to 360.
Delta 2437, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Proceed direct, radar contact as reported. Proceed direct Leopard.
Direct Leopard for Delta 2437.
So there's little other things with VFR, but I hope
Jacksonville Center, Southwest,
2503 is with you on the Grinch 5 arrival. Next waypoint, Britain.
Southwest 2503, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Squawk 7231 and ident.
7231 and ident for Southwest 2503.
So we've talked about
And
tonight.
Jacksonville Center, WestJet 1349 is ready for taxi.
WestJet 1349. Give me 1 second here. Gotta pull up a chart. There we go. WestJet 1349, runway 36 right, taxi via Foxtrot, Charlie, Bravo 10.
All right, over to 36 right, Foxtrot, Charlie, Bravo 10. And do you by chance have an altimeter number for us for WestJet 1349?
Yep, 3010.
3010 for WestJet 1349, thanks.
Southwest 2503, radar contact just over the Ocala VOR, descend via the Grinch 5 arrival. Orlando landed to the north. Orlando altimeter is 3011. Expect the visual approach, runway 36 left.
Expect visual 36 left, 30.11. Southwest 2503.
So there's other things with VFR, but that's the basics of VFR. If you have that stuff, you're perfect. No questions. My control, Bravo Echo. So one of the cool things about Orlando airspace, specifically Orlando International, is we have these new stars into Orlando. And this is something strictly Jacksonville related, but it's going to make your life, if you ever fly into Orlando, a little easier. I'm going to pull up my Navigraph here. So we have two arrivals that are based off of direction. Atlanta has this all the time. The two arrivals are the Seinfeld 3 arrival and the Get Out 1 arrival. You'll notice, I'll put the Seinfeld back out, it follows the same thing all the way down to Get Out and Tuggle. But the Get Out flies in, the Seinfeld goes south. Roger. See it. So if you want to help a controller out, always know the operations of which way Orlando is landing. That is very easily found. And you're going, what? Yes. It is very easily found. A great website, DATIS.com. If you Google search DATIS, if I could.
Jack Center, good evening. Southwest 3825, flight level 360.
Southwest 3825, Jacksonville Center, good evening. So DATIS is the digital ATISes of major fields. And I will tell you, let's go look at Orlando. Boom, 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 boom. There she is. 35 left, 36 right, 36 left. So you can't say you don't know. And I'll tell you, look, let's go Boston.
Center, Southwest 3825, if possible, request step away for about 10 minutes.
I'll give you 7.
Say again?
I'll give you 7.
Okay, Roger.
Atlanta. Boise, Idaho. Buffalo, New York. They're all there. But it's only two
Jacksonville
major
Center.
fields.
Good evening. Air Canada 626 on the ground in Jacksonville. Information Quebec. Request taxi. Runway 08.
Air Canada 626 Jacksonville Center. I'll be with you in just 1 second here. Oops. I got to pull up the charts for myself. This is slightly the delay of pulling up charts because as much as I try to remember a lot of taxi instructions, I deal with 58 fields. Air Canada 626, runway 8, taxi via Hotel Alpha Lima.
Hotel Alpha Lima to runway 8. Air Canada 626, thank you.
So that's why occasionally you hear a stall saying, give me a sec. Because we used to have the taxiway labels in our controller panels with the updated
Jacksonville Center, good evening, Spirit Wing 2801, climbing through 10,500 for 12,000, directed at
Spirit Wings 2801, Jacksonville Center, good evening, climb maintain, flight level 360.
Climb maintain, flight level 360, Spirit Wing 2801.
So I hope that helps everyone tonight with dealing with, I don't want to call them problem controllers, but controllers that might be having just a bad night, which do happen. And I've even admitted, I've had bad nights controlling. You deal with some people, and you might even hear it on your own frequencies when you're there. You're like, dude, do you even know what you're doing? Do you even care what you're doing? You're trying to be nice about it. You really are trying your best to not be mean about it and go, but you're going to get those pilots that you just go, oh, you're going to be that person. You're going to be that guy or gal that's going to make me just cringe. India Papa November 4702. Turn left heading 270, just maintain 3,000.
270 down to 3,000, Island Pacific, 4702.
And I will tell you, I've had some horrible battle stories of people flying in events that don't even know how to operate their aircraft, yet they want to fly in an F&O with 400 people. And you just go, God love you. But they'll do things like get rid of discontinuities. I've preached about that a few times lately. Don't get rid of those discontinuities. Leave them in there. And you try. I try my best. There are times it's just you're just having a bad day and there's no relief because you're working an event. And like I said, it's a very, 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 very stressful thing. We do volunteer, but we feel like when you're working an event and we step away with no ATC, it's like, oh, well, thanks for not being on and, helping everybody else because we're trying to get to it together. It's a fun situation sometimes. WestJet 1349, RNAV to fax. The wind is 060 at 5, runway 36 right, clear for takeoff.
RNAV to fax, clear for takeoff 36 right, WestJet 1349.
Yeah, and that's another one, Dave, is the pilot didn't know how to fly the plane, and it's something that there's a whole lot of discussion on in the VATSIM community is pilot competency. Do you know how to program that FMC? Do you know how to actually fly the plane when you turn the autopilot off? And that is a tough thing because we do not test it. VATSIM has never tested that. I came up with an idea that I was proposing when I was an ATM saying, what if we require people to take a multiple choice test to get their type certification of that plane? So you take a multiple choice test of the basic operations of an A320. The problem with doing that, and we saw this in the the VAT USA Academy that was made for controllers, is you have a lot of people that they know they have the best of intentions, but they will make it so complicated that you won't want to take it. And it really discourages you. So I think that's why they don't do it. But, I always say, know what you're doing. Know how you're going to do it and know when you're going to do it. And make everybody's life 1,500 times easier. Because we all want to have a fun experience. We all want to have fun. That's, A1. Enjoyable experience of the network. Best way to be an enjoyable experience is know thy aircraft. Air Canada 626 upon departure, turn left heading 050, runway 8 clear for takeoff. Wind is calm.
Clear for takeoff, runway 08, and we'll turn left heading 050 upon departure, Air Canada 626.
India Papa November 4702, turn right heading 360.
360, out of Pacific 4702.
I think also something that might help, and I say this to new controllers, is read. Take the time to read that manual. I'm not saying know the emergency operations of a 737. I don't expect you to know that. I don't even know them. But know how to program your FMC. And there's so many videos. I don't want to do any videos of that stuff because there's just so many on YouTube. Just googly search. Go to YouTube. Do a search. You'll find so many things that tell you what to do and
Southwest 3825 back.
Southwest 3825. Welcome back. Walker 1588, leaving my airspace to the north. Atlanta's offline. Radar services terminated. Frequency change approved. I'm not going to be a safe flight.
Over to the dark side for Walker 1588. See ya.
Island Pacific 4702, turn right heading 080. The field will be at your 12 o'clock. Report in sight.
080, field at site, 4702.
4702, clear visual, approach runway 8, 1 departure prior to your arrival. The wind is calm, runway 8 clear to land.
Runway 8 clear to land. Have the visual, 4702.
Land Jacksonville Center, WestJet 3049 is airborne, passing through 3,500.
WestJet 3049, Jacksonville Center, radar contact, climb, maintain flight with 320.
Climb, maintain 320 for WestJet 1349.
You know, so I always say people, just like, read the basic. If you have trouble reading, I'm not the best reader. I really am not. But watching someone do it, I can see it, and now all of a sudden I know what I'm doing. I feel better about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Even like I like occasionally learning new aircraft. I've been looking at, I have the Captain Sim 717, which is not the best of planes. They put an A320 over top of a 717. But to look at it and kind of figure out how to, the basic operations of it. And the other thing I'd say is start simple. Start on a CRJ2. Work a plane that doesn't have auto throttle, so that you get practice using that throttle. You want to practice these things and practice them offline. There's nothing, yeah, flying online's great. It's fun, but you got to practice somewhere, Southwest 2503, descend and maintain 3000.
Down to 3000, Southwest 2503.
And 2503, I can give you 35 left if you want to take the shorter route.
Roger, I'll take 35 left.
Roger, expect the visual approach 35 left.
Visual 35 left. Southwest 2503, down to 3000.
Air Canada 626, radar contact, altitude passing.
Passing 1,900, Air Canada 626.
Air Canada 626, turn left direct caps, actually turn left direct the Crestview VOR, I'm giving you a super shortcut. Left direct Crestview VOR, climb maintain, flight level 280.
Can you say again the VOR?
Crestview, Charlie Echo Whiskey.
Okay, Charlie Echo Whiskey, Derek Charlie Echo Whiskey, and we'll climb flight level 280, Air Canada 626.
Give him a little bit of a shortcut so he doesn't deal with, long stuff. And as Dave just said, aviate, navigate, communicate. And that goes for when you're flying your plane. So this is something that kind of is annoying. Aviate. Fly the plane. Look at your navigation. Navigate. Then communicate. Communicate is dead last. Turn the plane first. If I say, American 7, turn left heading 0270 back to your final, spin that knob to 270. then say, turning left heading 270. In aerial gaming, I fly the CRJ-2, I fly the CRJ-7, the CRJ-9, Airbus 320, Boeing 737, but I fly that CRJ just because got to learn that auto throttle, got to do it myself, do it without the auto throttle. I'm not the greatest with GA planes. I'm getting better. The thing is, I have a little twitch in my left hand, so it makes it a little harder. Southwest 2503, turn left heading 090, descend and maintain 1,600 vectors for final.
Left 090 down to 16,000, Southwest 2503.
But yeah, and I even tell people there's nothing wrong with taking a PMDG and don't turn on the autopilot and auto throttle. Learn how to control the throttles and the stick without that autopilot. It will make you the best pilot. You'll have the best of landings. You'll never have an issue with landing. Island Pacific 4702, welcome to Jacksonville. Right turn off the runway. Taxi the ramp on this frequency. Have a good one.
Thank you for the great ATC, Island Pacific 4702.
You know, there's nothing wrong with just turn that autopilot. I mean, I would recommend you do it offline. Please don't do it in you know, the stuff. It would be. But I tell people it's like a great way to learn an aircraft and how it works is do it without autopilot. Do it offline because I don't want to see you crashing, you know. And when you're learning a new aircraft, do it offline. Don't have that extra thought of how did I get? Did the clearance go right? Did I do that? Do it offline because if you crash, who cares? Southwest 2503, field is at your 9 o'clock and about 7 miles report in sight.
Have field inside, Southwest 2503.
Southwest 2503, cleared visual approach, runway 35 left. Runway 35 left, clear to land.
35 left, clear to land, Southwest 2503.
I can just imagine, I can hear bank angle, bank. You know, so feel free to, you know, flying on the network can be a very fun experience, but learning your aircraft is so much for it because you'll have a better experience on the network. If you know the plane you're flying, you're going to have one of the best experiences you could possibly have on the network. And everyone's going to have a fun experience. That's what your goal is to make sure that everybody has a fun experience. And knowing how to use your aircraft is the best way to do that. Is the absolute best. And that's a great thing to learn. In Infinity Gaming 5150 said, I learned everything in the A320 fly-by-wire in 1 week. That's a good thing. That means you did it. You know, you learned that. You know how to fly the plane. Another issue a lot of people make, and I understand, we get bored. I fly Boeing, I fly Airbus, I fly CRJ. Learn one aircraft at first. Learn that CRJ.
And Jacksonville, good evening. On the Panhandle is Delta 1156 with you, flight 260.
Delta 1156, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Ident, please. You know, learn
for
that A320 and then go and fly it for 100 hours. You know, and yeah, you're going to get bored with it, guaranteed, but get to know it. Get to know how it works. And yes, I know the A319, the 320, and 320 are on the same deck, but they act differently. They all act differently, specifically with landing and taking off. Know how they do that. Delta 1156 radar contact over the India Uniform Golf Eugene VOR. Does that maintain 11,000 Pensacola? Altimeter is 3012. Expect the visual approach runway 1 something. It's going to probably be 19.
No problem. 11,000 pounds discretion and expecting runway 19er for Delta 1156. Also, we just want to give you an early contact really quickly. Can we step away just for about 7 to 8 minutes here? We're just finishing up some espresso.
Yep, and it's going to be 17. Visual approach runway 17.
You got it, brother. Visual approach runway 17, and we'll report when back. Just finishing up express. We'll be back ASAP.
And that's the thing, and it's, again, this is something that we don't have in VATSIM, which I kind of wish we did, is you don't learn how to fly a plane. We don't teach people on VATSIM to fly a smaller plane first, which is probably something that would be much better. That, I'm going to say, I know a certain ATM, not me, that said that the other day. He had to go. He actually told us in Discord he's got to go. I was like, okay. Like I said, we all have some very, 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 very funny stories. I think I thoroughly loved the guy who his mom said he said, I have to disconnect because my mom says I need to stop gaming. I was like, yup. Okay. Spirit Wings 3158, leaving my airspace to south of Miami, said I quit. Radar services terminated for change approved. My have a safe flight.
Was that for Spirit Wings 3158?
That's affirmative.
Oh, man. I guess we'll go over to the dark side. Thanks for the service. Have a great day.
I mean, you can continue to listen to me. I don't know what it's going to do for you. Southwest 2503, welcome to Orlando. All the way to the end of the runway, take a left-hand turn straight ahead to the ramp.
All the way to the end of the runway, left-hand turn to the ramp, Southwest 2503.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite one, was when the moms, like the kid said, my mom says I got to get off, got to stop controlling. I was like, yep, that's VATSIM right there. What are some of the other ones that are just, and like I said, you see the discontinuities, we call it, so one of the things that we hear, we joke about, we call it RNAV to Medusa. And again, it's that discontinuity issue, and I'll show you why we call it RNAV to Medusa. So on the departure here, on the Faith 3, excuse me, the Jimmy 3, excuse me. If we're departing south, you can see villains to a heading, and then you get, and it even says in here, vectors to Medusa. But when you get rid of that discontinuity, what happens? Villains to Medusa. This is an arrival corridor. And we've had multiple times where we actually just have to laugh about it now, of people just slamming right into that arrival corridor. And you're like, yeah, that's going to hurt. Best of luck. Hope your crash detection's off.
Jacksonville Center, good evening. Flare 1300, we're flight level 360 and about 140 miles Savannah VOR.
Flare 1300, Jacksonville Center, radar contact is reported.
Roger.
I've heard some
Flare
interesting things. I've also heard things that were disturbing. We've had, there's some people that have tried to do the hijacking thing. I go, you really have a lot more problems if you want to do that one. I've had a day when everyone had emergencies. For some reason, all the 737 engines were failing. I think that day I had 5 or 6 people just, my engine failed. I was like, you guys actually do maintenance on your planes? You actually look at what you're doing? Imagine this. America 2279, leaving my airspace to the south. Miami is offline. Radar services terminated for change approved. I'm not going to be a safe flight.
Over to the Unicom, America 2279. Have a good rest of your night.
See ya. So, it is about 11:30 my time, which means my time is up, guys. I'm going to send all these people to Unicom. Thanks for watching, guys. I probably will do a stream tomorrow, so keep the notifications up. I will probably do a stream tomorrow, and then maybe one Thursday night. We'll find out. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you around. Stay out of trouble. And thanks for flying. Thanks for watching.